Hello guys, welcome back to Genshin Compact. My name is Yuga, and today I'm going to be doing Hu Tao comp comparison. Specifically, I'm going to try to compare different team comp such as Diona variant and Thoma variant and which comp is better at damage. I'm not, however, compare double Geo comp because I do not have Zhongli. This video might be obvious for some people, however, I have seen some people recommending comp that are objectively worse than other comp that they potentially could be used instead. So I decided to test it one by one and see which comp is ultimately better and why. This video, however, is not to discourage people to not run the other comp, but it is to educate and provide insight on which comp is better and worth a recommendation. Let's extend on why I want to compare both Diona and Thoma. Both Thoma and Diona are in Hu Tao rerun banner right now at the script writing. On top of that, they both are shield character that fulfill similar role to Hu Tao team comp. They both provide shield and chances are they are both equipped with Noblesse Forset to buff overall team damage in Hu Tao team comp. The argument for Diona potentially better than Thoma comes from the fact that C6 Diona, she can EM transfer to teammate on field, which means there will be additional 200 EM on Hu Tao for reaction damage. Furthermore, with weapon banner offer Elegy for the end, she has another additional 20% attack on top of another 100 EM transfer. In this video, I'm going to be saying CA as charge attack and Thoma Sucrose representing team consists of Hu Tao, Xingqiu, Sucrose, Thoma, Sac Diona as in Kaya Diona comp with Diona running Sacrificial Bow, and Elegy Diona with Diona running Elegy for the end. Before getting into the detail, I want to just give out my TLDR for the video. In terms of pure CA damage, Ember is better than any other options. Yeah, I included Ember Elegy for the comp for the sake of fun. And following that, it is going to be Thoma Sucrose, followed by Elegy Diona with Sac Diona at the last. As for rotation comfort, all three Thoma Sucrose, Sac Diona, and Elegy Ember is better than Elegy Diona. With all of these considered, my ultimate recommendation are Thoma Sucrose over Sac Diona, over Elegy Diona, and over Elegy Ember due to how mechanically good you need to be in order to really survive in this comp. For people who might consider about any of these comp in this video, here are some very brief reasons on why you might consider. Thoma Sucrose is a very standard double pyro for pyro resonance and a Nemo character for pyro shredder with VV. On top of that, unlike characters such as Bennett, Thoma does not overheal as overheal can ruin Hu Tao's passive of needing her below 50%, but instead protect Hu Tao with shield and leave characters such as Bennett to team that can utilize him better, such as Child International. While for people who wants to use Kaya Diona, it is going to be quite straightforward. Kaya is a free character and Diona comes with Hu Tao, which means Xingqiu is the only character that is needed in this team comp. Diona is like a combination of Bennett and Thoma where she provides both shield and heal, which feels safer. Here are the testing methods. We will be using two different weapons, R5 level 50 Dragon Bane as well as R1 level 90 Staff of Thoma. Since this video is not meant to compare two weapons performed under various team comp, but to compare how individual weapons stack up with different team comp, please do not take direct comparison between both weapons in terms of number. Therefore, consistency here is not really an issue as I'm here to only compare the highest charge attack damage of a weapon under different team comp environments. The choice of Dragon's Fang and Thoma is quite straightforward. They are respectively the best 5-star and 4-star. However, due to Dragon's Bane's passive, which only benefit target infused with Pyro or Hydro, Deathmatch would have been a better testing option for this video. Unfortunately, I do not have Deathmatch, which means the experiment will be slightly favored in terms of Vaporize oriented comps. However, the result of this video should not really change the outcome even if I have tested Deathmatch because the test result favorably favor one of the sides. Let's step back a bit and talk about the pros and cons of every team comp that we have tested today. Feel free to jump over the test result and comparison if you're not interested. Let's start off with Thoma Sucrose. With some player like me who don't have access to character like Zhongli because we joined at a later date, Thoma's addition to Hu Tao is a nice bonus of not needing Bennett for Pyro Resonance as well as Pyro Shred, but there are some weaknesses in Thoma such as ER problems. I have C4 Thoma that reduced the energy cost from 80 to 65, and I'm still running around 160% ER with R5 Faflens, and I'm still running around 50% crit rate, and this makes the rotation really smoothly. If you're running C0 or below C4, however, you're probably better off running with ER Send, on top of that with a stack stick ER weapon such as the Catch. And around 200% ER is where it should be enough for a decent smooth rotation. Sucrose here is just for the EM passive transfer to all the teammate with her E and her burst on top of the fact that she can equip with TTDS. So TTDS transfer means that she can bring an enormous amount of DPS value into this team comp. One thing that is really important and the downside of this team comp, however, is the inconsistency of getting double swirl all the time. Double swirl, for viewers that don't know, is an ability to swirl two elements within the same rotation. It's one of the hardest mechanic to understand or pull off, and not many people have know this because it varies from team to team. The rotation for double element swirl in this team comp is Xingqiu's EQE, Thoma's EQ, which removes the enemy Hydro status, Sucrose normal attack, then E. Then switch back to Hu Tao for her E. Basically, when Thoma EQ, he is able to remove Hydro status onto the enemy. Then due to how Thoma burst auto attack interact with normal attack, Sucrose normal attack, for example, will have Thoma burst auto attack, with first reaching the enemy applying Pyro. Then normal and Nemo attack shortly follow up with the swirl reaction triggers VV, follow up with Xingqiu's Rain Source. After it rewrites the enemy element status with Hydro, Sucrose E then will swirl Hydro, then provide EM transfer to all teammates. Because on how difficult it is to pull off this rotation due to the fact that you're too close to the enemy, Xingqiu can actually reapply Hydro before Sucrose and Thoma are fast enough to attack. There is a solution where you can apply Pyro first with Thoma's EQ. However, this makes the comp a bit weirder to run unless you have Kazuha or you're using Sucrose equipped with Sac Frag instead of TTDS, then you don't have to worry about TTDS transfer. Kaeya Diona, on the other hand, requires less learning curve because there are no VB involved in this team, and this team comp is solely just playing around with Vape, Freeze, and Melt. The reason for Kaeya in this team comp is because he's so far the only cryo character that can apply cryo constantly onto the enemy, making Melt fairly consistent to pull off and trigger. Diona on this team provides shield for Hu Tao, and the addition for Sac Bow means that she can also funnel her energy to either battery herself or give it to Kaeya if needed. Her problem, however, lies in the fact that she healed with her burst. Healing with her burst contradicts the passive for Hu Tao needing her HP to stay below 50% for pyro damage bonus. Diona C6 negates this by providing 200 EM, however it is still a DPS loss for Hu Tao in general, which we will find out later in the testing. Elegy for the end can further try to fix this problem by using its passive. However, if you're using natural rotation, the burst often is going to waste half of its duration before the passive Elegy finally proc, because Diona cannot actually pull off two triggers for the passive with one E, and her burst damage ticks too slow. Finally, we have our Giga Chat comp, Ember. There isn't much to say honestly. Pyro resonance like Thoma and still able to use Elegy like Diona, on top of the fact that fast pyro application with her burst means that it is easier to rotate and proc Elegy passive as well as swirl for Sucrose. The downside is also quite obvious as well, which is that there are no defense ability whatsoever aside from Xingqiu's heal and Hu Tao emergency button if the enemy is going to kill you. This comp, however, is viable to run if you have Hu Tao at C1 with fluent animation cancel on N1 CD or N2 CD to provide iframe. For people who can't understand that, you probably shouldn't run this comp and should avoid running this comp as well. Now, actually, get into the testing result. Let's talk about Dragon's Bane here. Disclaimer, like I said earlier, this weapon passive enables it to work better with Vaporize oriented team comp. Sac Diona is really close compared to non-swirl Thoma comp, and Thoma can out damage by around 8.7%. With Hu Tao below 50% HP, the damage further up catch up to around 6.7% difference, so we can know that Hu Tao is still better around 1.8 to 2% when the HP is below 50% compared to C6 Diona. Since overheal is a problem in Diona variation, Hu Tao is not going to be at her peak damage most of the time. However, the good side is she only suffered around 2% damage loss for a huge chunk of HP. This team comp, however, does not stack up well when we compare to Vaporize damage. Since Diona cannot always trigger Melt as Kaeya does not really apply cryo fast enough, when we are comparing Vaporize damage, this team is around 18.6% behind when Hu Tao is above 50% HP for Diona C6. Thoma comp with swirled pyro further outclass the damage by around 39%. Elegy Diona can perform marginally better with Thoma team that failed to swirl pyro, which puts it at 1% better than Thoma comp, but falls behind once again at 7.9% in Vaporize damage, which means that this comp on average still falls behind in terms of total CA damage. We are also noted that Elegy is harder to pull off like I said previously, making this comp harder to recommend even if you have Elegy for Diona. For fun, Ember Elegy is straight up better than both Thoma and Diona variation by abandoning any defensive option and performs 16.5% better than Thoma comp even with Pyro Sword. Let's switch the weapon to Staff of Thoma. Information about this weapon favors character with low HP as it gives more buff in lower HP situation, which means Diona in this comparison also need to overcome not just Hu Tao passive, but as well as buff on Staff of Thoma. This might raise the question on why even use Staff of Thoma as testing, but being Hu Tao's best in slot, this further proves the question of running Diona instead if you have Thoma already. Starting off, because we no longer have passive that favors Vape over Melt in Dragon's Bane, Kaya Diona can out damage Thoma non-throw Melt reaction by 0.6%, but then falls even more because we do not have the Dragon's Bane buff on Hydro Infused enemy by 33%. If we make Hu Tao below 50% HP for a better damage boost, we're looking at 5.4% leading in Melt damage compared to non-throw Thoma, however still falls behind throw Thoma by 17%. Elegy Diona can theoretically become super close to competing even with Swirl Thoma by only falling 8% behind with Melt, and potentially even closer to Hu Tao below 50 if Hu Tao is below 50% HP. This advantage still loses in Vaporize like we see in previous comparison, with non-Swirl Thoma leading around 17% and Swirl Thoma around 44.6%, showing how huge the damage improvement we can get if you execute Thoma comp perfectly. Last but not least, Ember is 26% than Thoma Sword and 36.7% better than Elegy Diona Melt and 55% better than Sac Diona with Hu Tao above 50% HP. With all these testing I have in hand, I also have one thing I really need to talk about, is that my Sucrose actually do not have 3 EM main stat. So my Sucrose is actually running 2 EM, and last is a attack circlet because I still do not have a EMVV circlet. So this test can actually tell you that Thoma comp is going to be further out DPSing Diona Melt comp in almost every situation. In the conclusion, just like the TLDR in the start of the video, Thoma non-throw generally out DPS Diona variation with small percentage difference, then just outclass Diona variation with correct double throw rotation. With these testing results in hand, we can kind of say that Thoma team should be the standard stock recommendation if the player account has Thoma and Sucrose or other Anemo substitution. However, there are still upside for Diona comps. They are way more comfy to run if DPS is not an issue, and as well as they are rather easy to build, with most players should have Kaya as a free character. Diona can also put in various team comp, which means investing in Diona can bring overall account value higher and be more beneficial in the future, unlike Thoma, because she's way more versatile. She can be put in a lot of freeze comp, and she can be put as any team comp that need a shield and a heal at the same time. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys really enjoy it, and please make sure to like and subscribe if you do like my content in this video. I spent a decent amount of time making the scripts as well as the testing by myself. My name is Yuga, signing out.